Welcome, Laurie Carey, CEO and founder of Stellar OS. Today's session, we're going to be showing you a continuation of last time. Last week, we did the AI course builder. This week, we're doing a simple document. So it was a prompt with the AI course builder last week where we took a whole prompt and had created a content course. This week, we're going to just take a simple document and use it to either create a new course based on a syllabus that you already have out there or on an operations document that you might have for onboarding new staffing or just employee access. So we're going to come in here into the AI course builder and we're going to go ahead and grab our documents. So again, I have two examples out there and I'm going to use these two ones here. So we've got a communications course syllabus and we've got this Acme's operation manual. We'll start with the operations manual first. And once we put the document in there and it uploads, it's going to let us know when it's ready. And then we can go ahead and continue on here and it's going to build this out. So when we get to this builder section, now we have the ability to look at the type of engagement we're looking to do, learning categories. So this is workforce. We could do higher ed or K-12 in here as well. And it's just going to modify our prompt to be more specific to our audience. In this case, the roles we can pick here, or we can pick in a description of our audience. So in this case, I'm going to say our audience is new into the organization. We'll say novice level, and then again, reading level we have here as well. You can decide whether you want it to be looking at your content. That's what it's going to do, simple and clear, or standard. I'm just going to stick with standard audience, a general audience reading level. And I can do it more advanced and technical in here as well. Format of the course, again, just like last week, all of these parameters are the same, whether you're putting a document in or you're following a prompt. So they'll both give you the same results here. So you've got the delivery format, you have the primary motivation of what you're doing or your goal for this, and then you've got learning experience type here for this context here. If you're doing a certification exam or reskilling or looking for concept mastery or behavior change. And as we mentioned last week, our cognitive neuroscience research capabilities are here. So this is really about understanding what I'm trying to accomplish from a flow and mechanism of how I'm teaching. We're going to use Bloom taxonomies. We're going to use cognitive neuroscience in our content development. And so you can turn these on or turn them off. Our goal for the future iterations of this piece here is to put in things like our compliance for HIPAA, for medical, so that can be, we can put actually those compliance guidelines in there, and that way the AI will follow that through the prompt. And also from a higher ed or K through 12 perspective, you can pull in your standards so that you can, and I like to give this example of educators spend way too much time creating content and then trying to retrofit it into meeting their compliance models that they have to meet. In this case, they can do that all in one shot. And you can even do it to the level where each module or each session that you're teaching can have a reference to where that's meeting those standards. For example, computer science standards or national standards that you might have for math or whatever the course that you're teaching. So you can apply those here. And again, turn them on, turn them off based on what you're trying to accomplish. Now, the next thing is I'm going to hit the course generator. Now, in any kind of course development, what you typically do is you start from where you want to go. So meaning that you want to first produce your learning outcomes, and then you work backwards. You're not going to produce content and then decide later what the goal of the course was. It's the reverse. So when you're building curriculum and developing curriculum, first thing you're asking yourself is, what do I want people to come away with when they finish this course? What are the things I want them to understand and learn? And that's the learning outcomes that you're going to develop first. So it's going to go through that document and it's going to really digest it, look at all my parameters in my prompt. And now it's going to build out the course outline, right? And the learning outcomes. And then the next stage is going to do the modules and the lessons and the whole outline. And the last stage is going to really just build the whole entire course. So this does take some time and process. We've built into this so that you have the ability to get a message when it's finished. If you have a really intense long course that you're designing, it may take up to 15 minutes for it to develop and finish processing. And so we've got it set so that you get an alert on your screen. So you can leave this screen and continue doing your other work and come back to this or with the alert to tell you that it's finished. So it's going to give me that update here on what's going on in the back end so that I know where it stands. And then when it's finished, I'm going to get a nice screen update with where we're at, what the content contains, so that I can continue to edit. Now, keep in mind that when you're designing this content, AI is there to produce this content, but it's not, you still need to review it, right? You still need to have that creative and authority of domain knowledge to make sure what it's produced is accurate. This is about saving you time and giving you multipliers to get things done that are tedious work that you don't necessarily have to do manually. You can have it give you this nice framework, and then you can tweak it along the way. So here's my update. I've got 14 lessons, 6 modules, 59 topics, and 3 cognitive principles that it followed. I have the ability to save this as a template. I can go right to the course, or I can keep editing. We're going to continue to keep editing so you can see what this looks like. So now it's taken this full document and it's basically brought it into this concept of what the structure here. And this is a regular course structure here that you're seeing here. It's got the modules and the lessons here throughout. And I can come into this platform here and I can make some edits in here if I need to. I can edit any of these sections at any time. And so what you can do also is you can add in images. We're doing some new enhancements where that's going to give you ability to add blocks. So for example, in here, you can come in and add a new header, list callouts, anything that you need in here for this section. So again, you could add a quiz and a knowledge check. You can add a video, an image. So this is the ability to do this and add it. And you can add your alternate text for accessibility and that in there. And I can go ahead and I can choose my image and pull that in. And it's going to pull the image in there. You could pull in an image in here, and now you've got the ability to add that image right into your context here. Let's look at a couple other blocks in here that I can do. So I've got video. Again, I can add the video URL in here. And this has got our MUX storage as well. So we're enhancing this so that you can actually store the image within here, or you can direct somebody to an external image as well. Now, once you have this in here, you're reviewing your context, you're doing your updates, making sure your course is the way you want it. Now it's about what modals do I want people to consume this? Because today's world, people don't necessarily like to read content. They like to consume content in different ways. And this is that neurodiverse learning experience. And so I have the ability to do that in here in our media editor. So this first piece I want to show you is this is our expert reviewer. And in here, it's going to give you some warnings and some critical updates that you might want to think about. And so it's going to give you some helpful information in here. Again, it's going to back it to the research and why this is a concern. And then you can review it and fix it, or you can just ignore it and enable the principle or not. It's all about how you want to handle each of these instances. You can dismiss them or fix them and then continue on. Once you've gone through the review, and again, this is optional. This is for people who are really research-focused learning experiences, especially in the higher ed and K-12 world. And then for the standard, like professional development, you may or may not want to implement or use those pieces. It's up to you. And then under the media studio here, this is where you can convert your content into any format, whether it's AI video or a narrated audio or a podcast version, or you want to have your ebook developed here too. So I can do this from each session. I could literally go through in each of these and decide which one I want to generate, or I can come up here to my media tool and I can generate all of them or be selective. And we did this intentionally because not everybody wants to have every piece of content in their curriculum, something that can be delivered in a podcast or something that can be delivered in a video. It may need to be just reading information that you need to have out there, but maybe you want it audio. So you can decide what flavor you do based on all, or you could just generate them all. Okay, so it'll generate every single piece of this in the formats that you choose. I can go and pick the voices that I want to. I can come here and pick the voices, or I can go from the outside. I'm showing 2 different ways that you can get to the voice editor piece. And we're enhancing this more and more. The next release will be able to have you do your own customized voice as well as your own customized avatar. You can come in here and play these. I can click on this. I could again go here and just generate one of these. I like the podcast one. That usually is a pretty good one to start with, just because it's fun. So I can generate the podcast here, and that's going to go ahead and process that. It's going to convert this session or this lesson here, have highlighted here, into a podcast version of it. And then what I'm going to do is once it's finished, I'm going to take you over to the previewer. So as a editor and course developer, you can come into this, do your editing, and then actually see what it's going to look like for the user experience in here as well. So now I can go to the preview here. And when I go to the preview, I can see my course content and go through which is available. If you are selective of which modality you're going to give your readers, whether it's, again, listening, watching, ebook, whatever format that you want to do, you've got the ability to select that, and it's only going to show that one. So in this case, we have the company overview. We did a podcast version, so I can click on that and I can play this out.
Welcome to the podcast.
And it's going to show that.
So I'm starting at ACME Corporation, and I'm curious, what exactly is this company, and why should I care about its history as a new operations hire?
Great question. ACME started back in 1987 as a small regional warehouse with just 12 people.
So this gives you the ability to really take an operations manual that's all about the company and put it in there and have employees really go through a course content. And so every time you update that manual, you can come back in here and update your curriculum, your content with anything new in there, and then regenerate those content. So this is about fast iteration and keeping things current. And that's really the problem that we're solving here, is that there's so much content out there, but it's a lot of times it becomes very stale and outdated, and you have to hire somebody, a contractor, to come in here and record the content for you, do all that. Now you don't. You can really do what you do best and run your business and keep your employees informed and updated through training without having to have that overhead and burden cost of engaging with somebody to do this. You certainly can do both. In some cases, you may choose to. In some cases, you may not. Again, it's dependent on your needs, and that's our goal here. And so I can go through this content in here directly and see what this whole thing looks like as I'm playing through this. And so I can see what the user experience looks like. There's a focus option. This is what you're seeing here is what the users will see. Again, I have the ability to change the focus here. Again, it was important for us to, from a consumer readability, having that there. You'll notice the logo over here to the left. The Real Academy is actually a tenant on the Stellar OS. And so I have the ability to white label and brand this to your logo, your company logo, and information in here. So that's the ability to do that kind of content where you've got an existing operations manual and you want to come in here and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this so you can see that experience. One of the things here that's going to do is going to give you a nice course title, and then you can select your instructors, whoever that's going to be, and then it's going to give you an estimated time based on the content that it created. The delivery mode, if you select self-paced, it's going to automatically do that. If you select instructor-led, you're going to get some options to set a schedule, because, and even hybrid is going to do the same too, because a hybrid or scheduled or instructor-led is going to have specific dates and times that it's going to be delivered, whereas a self-paced course may not. It's going to give you your course description here. You've got the ability to add an image for the course, so you can do that. One of the things that we're bringing on next is the ability for this thumbnails to be created automatically with AI. So you'll see that in the coming days. And then you can add your students right here from this too. We can add either a whole department, organization, everything in here, depending on how you want to add your entities in there. And then the last piece here is a check off that you have to sign off before you submit this. And this is just because we want to make sure that we're really clear on that this has been generated by AI and that you've reviewed it and made sure that it's accurate before you publish it. Now, once this is published, your participants or learners in the platform can enroll in that course, depending on how you have your sequences set up. We covered a little bit of that, we're covering that next week, the operations capabilities here with the course. We're kind of trying to chunk this out in small pieces. So next week, you'll get to see that whole operations flow of what happens once you have a course in here and how you want to distribute that to learners. So let's go over and look at creating a course with a syllabus now. So now we're going to go back to our AI course builder, and we're going to use the document one again. We're going to choose the syllabus this time. And let's bring up the communications course here that we have already out. And this is just a standard syllabus course that you can look at, and I can actually open that up so you can see what it looks like. So let me go here to my downloads, and let's go grab that communication syllabus so you can see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. This is a standard syllabus that you can use to upload into it. And again, it's going to take all this format and material information, and it's going to put this into a course for you online. So that's what it looks like. We'll close that out, head back over here, and we've got it uploaded. It's all ready to go. We'll hit continue. And again, same prompts, everything here, choosing the workforce who we're going to use this for. We can say just this for new managers. Okay. And so now we have practitioner. We'll probably keep it that. And this is working knowledge. This is going to be managers. Say new hire managers. And we'll say standard for that. We're going to say self-paced again. And we'll leave everything else as is, and we'll leave all that as is again, and we're going to go ahead and let this go. So now this time it's going to go ahead and generate this course for us with using the syllabus to define this. Okay, so it's going to generate, again, just as we did before, it's generating, in this case, it looks like it's 12 lessons. It's going to author here for us so that we can review this content and have our course ready for us. Again, this is about taking content that you have already and being able to operationalize it into a format where you can train people on your existing syllabuses that you have. Maybe you have a whole bunch of courses out there that you want to revamp, and they were great courses, but they need to be iterated on and be more modernized. This is a great use case for that. You've got all these syllabuses that are still relevant courses to teach, but maybe some of the things have changed along the way in relationship to how we communicate, what we've learned about communication skills and training through neuroscience research and all the evolutions of technology. We can now iterate that course and make it even better without having to reinvent the wheel here, because we have a syllabus. We've got something that we've been using for a while, and it's great. Seeing a whole new perspective of that course in its new version could be exciting. So again, but you're the author, you're the person who's going to review this content and make sure that it's exactly as you had hoped for, and you can edit it and tweak it to be based on your needs. All right, so we're almost done with the generating here. We're 10 of 12 lessons authored, and it's just kind of wrapping up things and going to give us that nice prompt on the screen so that we can review it and make decisions on that content as a next step. I'm going to go a little into some of the other new blocks that we've got out here. And so it says course is ready. There we go. We've got a little prompt at the top. That would take us there as well if we had left the session to come back in. So now we've got this 3 lessons need a look. There's a little bit of awareness here that it wanted to give us on that reference, which I think is great. So this is all, again, giving you some good information to work with here. So now we're going to go ahead and keep editing it. And we can see what we have here for the communication models and perspectives here. And I can come in here and modify any of these aspects of this. One of the things here, if I go to course settings in here, I can see all the information about the course detail, course overview. It's going to give you all the what you'll learn. Here's all the learning outcomes that are already defined for me here based on that syllabus. And it's added a few additional ones too. You'll see that if I look at that PDF and I match this up here and I look at the learning outcomes that I had here, let's see if we can do a correlation in here. So here's some of the topics that were here, and the learning objectives here on the screen. These are some of the learning objectives that were in the original one. And now over here, we've got these new learning objectives. Now I can remove some of these. I can do whatever I want here. This is all, I can add more in here if I need to. Here's some key highlights that the learner is going to see at a glance for the course. Here's some course requirements that you might have to have in here. And again, it's going to use that based on what the course needs are. And then FAQs. If you want to have some FAQs in here, it's going to give you that information. Again, you could come in here and add additional ones if you need to, but it's going to give you a nice framework of everything you need to make this course really effective. And again, the learners, when they come in and preview this course, this is what they're going to see. They're going to see all the course details, and they can actually download the syllabus from the platform as well. So they have that to share it with somebody. Maybe they need to get approval from somebody for the course and they want to take this course. They could do that as well. Platform, again, is designed for different audiences and different needs and organizations for that. So I got this in this new section here that I'm looking at with the course details. I can go back to previewing. I can collaborate with other course developers if I want to here so that we can both work on this content together. I can share this out with another individual that I'm working with as well. And again, I can go back to publishing this course. So we'll click on publish again. You've already seen this screen. It's all here. I can do that. I'm going to close that out. And then I'm going to go back and show you how we would come back in here to do some editing on this course. So this is the one here. So I want to go to edit this course. And it's going to pull up my editing screen. Again, I have the option to do save as template. I love the review history. So if I come in here and make changes and I want to, if I click on the review history, there's really no more than one because there's only one version. But if I were to save this and come back in and edit this version of it or publish it and then edit it again, I could see the different versions of that and decide whether I want to go back a version or stay with the version that I have. So the versioning is there for you, which I think, again, is a nice feature. So if I want to come in here and do some editing in here and add a block, I could go ahead. Let's try to put something in the right space here. So we can do like at the end of a module, I might want to have a little quiz or something in here. So here's a good one. So there's some suggestions that it's going to produce in here. So it's saying in here that an image, it would be good here, a simple left to right diagram showing a sender personal speaking message, right? And so I could go ahead and use this as a way to upload and put an image in here because it's giving me some reference points where it thinks that I might need that. So it's got some helpful hints in here. Again, some call outs in here that it put in that it felt were pretty helpful. Here's a knowledge check that it put in automatically in here. But again, I can add these same things in here if I need to, but it's going to throw those things in throughout the course content where it feels that there's appropriate placement and timing for those pieces. And you'll see that throughout the entire course where it felt that something would be handy to have. Again, some tips in here, another call out here, an image maybe might be needed. Again, call outs, knowledge checks, it's all throughout this piece. But of course, I can come in and add something with our custom blocks as well, so that if I want to add a piece in here, add a block, I can. Again, video, image, divider, call out, list, whatever I need to do in here, I have that ability to do that. And then once I've got it in the format I like it and everything looks good and I've approved it, or maybe I've sent it through an approval process, can do that as well on the platform. I can come back to my media and decide what I want to generate for this course. Do I want to create a video? Let's go to this first one and let's generate a video for this so you can see that. This video is going to be just a straightforward, simple video. Next release, we're doing with custom avatars where you can select your avatar or put yourself in there as the avatar as part of the content development creation. All right, so while I'm waiting for that, we'll show the course editor here, the audio voice cast here. This is kind of fun. I can play with the different voices in here. I showed a little bit of this on the last session, but I think it's important to see that you can change this. And if you do make any changes in here and you've already generated the audio or video with that a prior voice, it's going to prompt you and let you know that you've made change. Do you want to regenerate with a new voice? So it'll know you've made a change to that. Each of the sections will actually tell you to a timing estimate for the reading of it, how long it takes to complete it, and that's all part of the course estimate for time as well. You'll notice the little warnings here in here. This is where we had the suggestions for some changes in here that were part of the findings. This is where you might see some information in here, explicit learning outcomes or success criteria here. So that was just something that it felt like you needed to be addressing. So these are all the critical warnings in here, and it's going to jump you to whatever one it is based on that piece there. And I can continue here and add another module if I want to. It's going to basically look at the existing content here and decide what would be coming next, the most logical next piece of this. So if I click on it, it's going to ask me here, describe the topic this module should cover. AI will propose the title and 1 to 3 lessons in here, right? So if you can make a suggestion in here for something that you want to do. All right, let's check our media, and it looks like it's still generating. Again, video takes a little longer to generate than the audio does for obvious reasons. It's generating and rendering that. But the podcast is pretty quick, the audio piece here. And then the ebook is really a good one too. So we have not only the ebook, but also you can do the instructor guide as well as the student workbook. All of these, if you need to generate one, again, you may not require one, but if you need that, you have the ability to generate both of those content pieces. Thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week when we're going to be covering more of the operational functions of the platform from once a course is created. What do I do next? And how do I ensure that I have a good recruitment of participants taking the course and all that requirements that I need around that course delivery?